Hi, I'm Dr. Ashley Holcomb, and today we're going to talk about some top parenting tips for managing a tantrum. Parenting is extremely difficult. Children take a lot of work, thought, emotional energy, money, you name it. Parenting is a full-time job on top of all of the other things you have to get done. And every parent knows that the prime time display of on-the-spot parenting skills is during a grocery store tantrum. Many parents don't let their children in the store at all, and if you have to bring your child with you, you know that pit in your stomach that stays with you the entire time. Especially when you hear the dreaded words, "I want that." I recently observed a parent nailing it at the grocery store, and the small but powerful ways that she managed her child's tantrum. The little girl was maybe 4 years old enough to talk, but small enough that she fit in the grocery cart seat. The mom looked tired, and I could only imagine with my own COVID-19 related grocery stress how this mom was feeling. I had seen them earlier on in my trip in one of the aisles, and I'd watched how the mom was so interactive with her daughter, laughing with her, talking with her, playing with her, just to keep her daughter entertained during the trip. Then I happened to be behind them when we were in the checkout line. Then the girl saw chips on display and started to demand them. Mom gave her a very firm no and explained, because we've gotten this and this, we can't also get chips. Then the daughter shifted her technique and started whining. And mom started using what's called active ignoring. She looked ahead as though she was paying attention to the lines while using her peripheral vision to still keep eyes on her daughter. So she was able to ignore the behavior while still providing supervision for her daughter. The daughter started to lightly kick mom, and then her arm came up like she was going to hit her, and mom grabbed the arm very firmly but kindly, put it back down, said no, and then went back to her active ignoring. The girl tried one more trick in her arsenal, and she went for the soul-crushing sob. And mom continued to ignore her, and then right at the very end, as the daughter was calming down, the mom did the sweetest thing. She brushed the daughter's hair out of her eyes, she wiped a tear away, and then she moved the cart forward. The tantrum was over, and at no point in time did this girl get chips. I want to break down the brilliant parenting tips from what this mom did and then help you think about how you could use them at home. The first one is paying attention at the right times. This mom did a great job paying attention to her daughter the entirety of the time they were at the store until that tantrum started. And that's when the mom started using active ignoring. Active ignoring is the number one technique used by therapists to end a child's tantrum. Children are testing out to see if they can get what they want. The less attention you give them when they're doing something you don't want them to do, the less they'll do it. And on the other hand, the more attention you give them when they are doing something you do want them to do, the more they will do that. I hear parents fear that they will harm a child's self-esteem by saying no too much or by ignoring them when they're emotional. But I think you actually do more harm by not teaching them healthy ways to get what they want and need. Plus, the mom didn't only use the ignoring technique, right? She was actively providing tons of healthy attention to this girl when this girl was acting appropriately. She was already making active parenting choices before the crisis moment even started. Notice too that mom did a great job of still providing affection and care to her daughter at the end of the tantrum instead of criticizing her or yelling at her or giving in. Okay, tip number 2, keep at it. The biggest mistake I see parents make when they're working with a tantrum is they do a great job not giving in, and then they cave. If you wait out a 25-minute tantrum and you give in at minute 26, all you did was teach your child that they have to go 26 minutes to get what they want. The same could be said for intensity. If you give in every time you see violence, if you give in every time you see the heart-wrenching sob, you're teaching your child that all I have to do to get what I want from mom is crank up the violence or crank up the emotion, whether it's real or not. But your child's world is not going to end if they don't get chips. And if they learn that violence gets them what they want, they will continue to use violence to get what they want. On the other hand, if you consistently say no and you stick to it, at first your child's tantrums will get longer because they're going to test you out. But eventually the tantrum from your child will get shorter. This tantrum at the grocery store was maybe 90 seconds long, max. And even the fact that the daughter, she did try to kick a couple times or the overhand hit, it was not very strong and it was not very loud. You wouldn't have known this was happening if you weren't paying attention. And what that tells me is that this mom has done this before and has stuck to her guns before. Tip number 3, stay cool, calm, and collected. You and I both know this mom was not as calm as she appeared. Her insides were probably squirming. She was probably thinking, why did I bring my kid to this store? Or all these people are going to stare at me. Or I just want this to be over. But whatever she was feeling, we never saw it and we never heard it. She kept her voice calm. She kept her voice firm. And her body language was in control without being aggressive. It's easy to get overwhelmed and end up yelling at a child. And I don't want to shame you for this. I think many of us do it because we're humans too. We all lose our cool. But again, these moments are about teaching your child problem solving. And so our tone, our body language, and our method will speak volumes. A calm no that is firm teaches children actually how to hold a boundary in their own lives and be able to say no in a calm and firm way when they need to as well. The other thing I've seen parents do is plead with their child to stop tantruming. It's a very tempting option, especially when you're at the end of your rope, but don't give in to it. As much as your child thinks they want to be in control, they need you to be in control. And so in those moments, hold that in. And then as soon as you get an opportunity, go to a partner, go to a friend, go to a therapist. And that safe space is the perfect place to get out those frustrations and emotions that you're feeling. Okay, our last tip, tip number 4, make a plan ahead of time. Nothing is harder than having to come up with some rule on the spot in the middle of a tantrum at the grocery store with everybody staring. So as much as you can, plan for things ahead of time. We didn't get to see this mom ahead of time, but I'm going to guess that she had some kind of rule and she had a conversation with her daughter reminding her of the rule. So maybe in the car, she said, okay, remember, you can get one thing. And then as the daughter found something, okay, remember, this is the one thing that you can get. So then it made it so easy when the daughter said, I want chips, to say, well, remember, you only got this. My own mom would set a dollar limit. So she'd say, okay, you can get one relatively healthy thing that's less than $5. It's arbitrary. There's no right or wrong answer, as long as it's a rule that you feel you can stick to and that you feel you can enforce. Make a plan ahead of time and stick to that plan no matter what. Looking back at these tips, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that parenting is really hard. It takes so much effort, forethought, and support. And especially during this pandemic with kids being home and parents trying to work from home, and maybe some of your support systems aren't as available as normal. And we at Here Counseling know that parents are struggling, but you don't have to struggle alone. Therapy can help. Whether it's a place to learn and practice specific parenting strategies, or whether for you, you just need encouragement and a space to vent about how difficult parenting is, we want to be there to support you. And with telehealth, a completely secure online video format, going to a therapist has never been easier. Reach out today.